Great to know that you're tuned into the Manifesto Show. I'm your host, Ndanji Duncan Simonza, and today on the program, I'm joined by the president for New Heritage Party, Madam Tshala Kateka. Am I pronouncing that right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so let's just get down to business. So, New Heritage Party.
That's right.
Formerly known as Heritage Party.
That's right.
Am I correct?
You are very correct.
Wonderful. So, just a quick bio. Maybe let's just do a profile. Who is Madam Tshala?
Madam Tshala Kateka is a fierce Zambian, somebody who fiercely loves the country of Zambia. I went to the University of Zambia. I studied economics. After that, I studied accountancy. I'm a fellow chartered accountant. I worked with Deloitte Haskins and Sells in Zambia and then in Botswana. I was in Botswana for 4 years. When I came back, I took over the running of my father's accountancy firm called Kateka and Company. And after that, a couple of friends and myself started a company called BDOKEM. After that, I went into consultancy and management. I managed Kafue Textiles of Zambia. I managed the National Economic Diversification Task Force. I managed Zamnet. So that's more on the corporate side. But I've done many things outside of the corporate world. I'm a lay preacher, so I preach. I teach the word of God. I am somebody that is concerned with wanting to see Zambia and Zambians getting to where we should be. I think that we all know, not that I think that, we all know that Zambia has got great potential and Zambians have a lot of potential, very intelligent people, very talented, but the environment sort of doesn't allow us to express who we are and to become who we need to become. And I think that is the saddest thing about this country. Look, when you are given so much potential in terms of natural resource, human resource, and we fail to convert, it's like when you are given a free penalty, just a penalty just by the goalpost, and then you hit over the bar. We keep hitting over the bar. It's time for Zambia to convert and to get to where we ought to become.
All right. So, corporate background, key concept, and then from corporate also you have a bit of background from the priesthood area there. You do preach.
Lay preaching, yes.
And politics now. Corporate, yes. Preaching, politics.
Cow fella.
Now, my question would be now, how do you manage the preaching part as well as politics? Are you doing it double or it's just politics now?
Maybe I didn't finish explaining exactly. So 2014, I retired from being MD at Zamnet, and I just started sitting on boards. Okay, so I was on the Nico Insurance Board. I chaired until maybe 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I chaired the Competition Commission, CCPC, and I chaired ABSA Bank, formerly Barclays Bank. So, amongst other things. So, I've had to step off all of this. That's the corporate world. So now I've left the corporate world to go into the political world full time. The preaching, I'm not a full-time preacher. So it's like when you are a lay preacher, you preach when you are invited to preach. So I'm not invited all the time. So when I'm invited, I'll preach. I teach. So it's a good mix, I think, because the preaching side, understanding the scriptures, it helps you to have an appreciation of what could be. And that's why I'm doing what I am doing.
Yes. Now, before we get into the flesh, one thing that I would like to find out is what prompted you to enter into politics, especially now, because what you're doing now, you're inspiring a lot of women folks and also young girls, because now they know now that they can now be part and parcel of decision-making process and not be seen in a different way.
That's a very good question. But firstly, let me correct you. I didn't enter into politics now. I was a founder member of the old Heritage Party. I was chairman of the finance committee. But because of being in the corporate world, I used to work in the background. You know what it's like in our country. You can't go out there and start jumping up and down on anthills. So I used to work in the background. I have decided to come to the fore at this time because of necessity. So even when you think about it, leadership is not something that starts with a title. Leadership is who you are and so you start to do things even before you get there. So I've worked with a lot of young adults. So we're talking 18 to 40 years in an NGO that I formed in 2004 called Youth with a Vision for Zambia. In many parts of this country, we used to go engage with youth to help them to become who they need to be, because a lot of youth have got potential, but they've got no one to help them to get into the right space, to help them and point them in the right direction. So that's what we were doing in Youth with a Vision for Zambia. So we covered a number of provinces. We covered Northwestern, Western, Southern, Luapula, Northern. At the time it was Northern, before it became Northern and Muchinga. So we covered all those provinces, and we went to each and every town and spoke to the youth there. And we formed branches of that organization, and we started to mentor them.
Okay, just a quick one. And I wanted to do this in the beginning, just to put the record straight. You are contesting the coming election.
Absolutely. 2021.
Wonderful. Moving on to my question that I wanted to ask you again, being that you have vast experience in the corporate world and looking at entrepreneurship, which is a key asset to any country for it to actually prosper. What kind of approaches would you recommend to say that these are the ones that we need to be looking forward to achieve it as a country, especially in the area of entrepreneurship?
Let me answer it this way. Our educational system is not in a good, many things are not in a good place, but our educational system is not in a good space at all. We have a curriculum which points us in a certain direction. You go to school and you are taught all those lessons, but the mindset that you are left at is, I must finish school and go into employment. Do you see what I mean? It's very difficult to change a mindset when you are growing. But if our educational system pointed us in all sorts of directions, all sorts of potential, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's getting a job, whatever it is, you begin straight away to think differently and will go for that. Now, when you look at Zambia, we don't have many industries. So to get a job is almost impossible. Everybody's looking for a job. So the way to go is entrepreneurship, and people are not even trained in that. So who's going to grow this nation? This nation will be grown by the Zambians, the small businesses. And that's the route that we should be going, because that should be our bedrock. Okay? It's not so much your foreign direct investors who will come and make a difference. It's us, the Zambians. And so it's extremely important that we put in place policies that will help people, these small businesses, to thrive. We have to make it easier for them to thrive, not to make it more difficult the way it is now to thrive. The environment, the economic environment is so hostile to anybody who's trying to start up. So we really have to look at that. For us, it's a very key aspect of what we are talking about.
Wonderful. When we come back after the break, I want to look at the fact that many argue that Zambia has got good policy, but the problem is implementation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. You're still watching the Manifesto Show. And if you have just joined us, make sure you follow us on Facebook, that's Live TV, Instagram at Live TV. And today on the program, I am joined by Madam Chala Kateka, who is the president of New Heritage Party. And we're having a very good conversation. Now, before we went for a break, definitely we were focusing on the economic perspective of this country. Now, moving forward, there's an issue now. Policy. Zambia's got the best policy ever in this country. But as a party, complaints has always been on the implementation part. But when you go into government, how are you going to handle these issues of policy implementation and whatnot in order to advance the economy?
Okay, so you are very correct in that we do have good policies. We have got good systems. They can be improved, but by and large, things are in place. We've got laws. We've got a number of laws. You know, there was this year, I love dogs, so I have some dogs. And one year, the council suddenly wake up and decide to enforce the law, which we had no idea existed about. You have to pay so much to have a dog per annum. You see what I'm saying? That law had always been there, but nobody had been enforcing it. I'm just bringing that as an example of laws existing which are overlooked or not enforced. And there are many such instances. We've seen houses being built and there's a pole line in the middle of the house, and a Zesco pole line in the middle of the house. Why does that happen? Because of what you're talking about. When we have laws and policies which are not followed, which are not adhered to. Why do we have that problem? It's a breakdown in terms of it's a cultural breakdown, if you like, within government. It's a systematic breakdown of what we have set ourselves out to. So you see, like now, the government keeps saying, oh, no, we've now brought this plan. Remember the austerity measures that they used to put in place when Honorable Mwanakatwe was Minister of Finance? They would say, no, we are now going to do this so that we contain this issue of contracting debt. Then they don't do it. And then they would do the same. Again, they would do another one. Then they don't do it. Now we have a plan. If they don't do it, then it's as good. You may as well just sit and not start putting those plans in place. So what are we talking about? We're talking about discipline, the discipline of running government. I keep being asked the question, what is the first thing that you will do when you get into government to make a difference? And the answer is simple. You must have the right people in the right positions. Because you can have the best plans, the best policies, the best everything, best manifesto. But if you don't have the right people that are qualified to do that work, then all of that is just going to waste.
Speaking about policy, the president, His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa did launch an economic recovery program. Now, I want to ask you on this, but do you feel that that is the solution that Zambia economy needs now in order to move forward? And what are you proposing if that's not the case?
I don't. My first comment on that is we got into trouble some years ago, okay? And that was the best time to have that plan. I mean, this is, you must understand, when you're going towards an election year, you are going into an election year, a lot of things happen or don't happen because people are so focused on the election rather than on this. People are focused more on survival rather than on building up this thing, because it's human nature, I guess. So the timing is not perfect. This should have been done sooner rather than later. The second aspect that I want to bring out is what I just mentioned. We've had a number of plans being brought to the public and saying, here it is, this is what we're going to do, but we have not seen it being done. That is our concern. So whether that plan will work or not depends on execution, what we call execution. Is it going to be executed? At this moment, anything that you can do to help this economy, it might not be the thing that will be, but we are in intensive care and we need plans that will help us to get back on track. Will they be able to do it? I have my doubts in that the people who put you into a problem are likely not the people who will take you out of that problem. We've seen it before in the history of Zambia. For example, in pre-1991, we had a situation where the economy almost ground to a halt. We were queuing up for everything. What had to happen is we had to have a change of government, and a new breed of leaders came and looked at it with from a different perspective. And within a few months of the MMD government coming into power, we saw things change. And this is likely to be the case at this time.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think you have alluded to a lot of aspects towards the economy. I would want to do on the diversification of the economy, but I think that's going to be a very long conversation. Maybe let me twist it a bit. We'll continue, but let me twist it a bit. On the aspect of the environment.
Economic, political, social?
No, I'm just going to be on political and social aspect, especially for you as Heritage Party, because I believe you have taken up a very huge task, which Zambian people are relying on you to deliver, actually. So maybe my concern would be, how is the environment for you now? And I'm going to begin on the political lens. How is the environment?
I think what we are seeing, I won't say is unprecedented, because we have had a time when the political environment was like this, back in the Kaunda days. There was a lot of intolerance. But since then, I can't believe what we are seeing. This oppression of people, where people can't express themselves, they can't, it's like you're trying to put down everybody. I think that to do that is a mistake. Why? Because then you are just encouraging people to be even more, they want to express themselves even more. When you try to oppress people, the more you oppress people, the more they want to rise up and do what they need to do. So we are not in a good space politically. It's unfortunate. Today is what, Friday? No, Thursday. On Tuesday, 17 of our headmen in Chief Ikelenge's area, Heritage Party, were locked up because they were holding a meeting. Now, the police went there. They were in an enclosure, in a building, and some people tipped them off and said, oh, these guys are having a meeting. At this time, according to the electoral laws, we are allowed to, not to campaign, but we are allowed to start putting structures in place to mobilize people. So it's a mobilization meeting. So why are you picking up people and saying you need a police report, a police permit and things like that? And also, don't forget, they say we can meet up to 50 people. These were just 17 headmen who were meeting, they are our members. What does that do to those people? They spent the night in prison and they were only released yesterday, and today they have to go back. It's not acceptable. How many people do we see meeting wearing green t-shirts, green vitenges? Thousands of them in one place, and they don't have any permit. There's that song, Atichiwa Mina Mbuzi, Kurumagaru, but not the other way around. So that is not acceptable.
All right, so speaking about police, that's a conversation that we're going to also have later on the show. You're watching the Manifesto Show on Live TV. We'll be right back.
My name is Nevas Mumba, President of the New Hope Movement for Multi-Party Democracy. You are watching the Manifesto on Live TV.
Welcome back. This is the Manifesto Show, and on the program, if you have just joined us, I'm joined by Madam Tshala Kateka, who is the president of New Heritage Party, with me, and we are having a conversation to do with governance and many more issues that are actually happening within our country. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, that's Live TV, on Instagram at Live TV, and you can also catch us on Topstar channel 112. All right, so 2021 is coming. August. It's a big. 2020, it has been a year on its own.
Yeah.
2021, it's a year. It's gonna be a year on its own, but a year.